Welcome to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. In today's episode, I am talking about some inspiration that I received from recently hearing the author of Die with Zero, Bill Perkins, talk. Before we get into today's episode, I have an email from Prep Dish customer Kristen. Kristen writes, "No questions or concerns. I just wanted to say how much my family and I appreciate your meal plans. It has helped me save time, eat healthier, and stick to my grocery budget. I can't thank you enough for this incredible tool." Kristen, thank you so much for sharing. I love hearing that it's saving time, saving money, helping you eat healthier, hopefully also enjoying your meals more as well. If you're listening to this and have not tried our meal plans, I do have a special 2-week free trial set up for listeners of this podcast at prepdish.com/mpm. You get 14 days free. You can try all of the different plans that we have, from paleo, gluten-free, low carb. We also have super fast, which are just quick, easy, healthy meals that your whole family can enjoy. So check that out at prepdish.com/mpm, short for Meal Prep Monday. It's linked in the show notes as well. Okay, so for today's episode, I recently attended a talk or an event that was with the author of Die with Zero, Bill Perkins. It was actually held in Austin. He's opening a restaurant called Jupiter Supper Club. And if you're in the Austin area, just a side note, highly recommend checking this place out. The design and interior was it was gorgeous. They completely renovated the space. It's on Congress Street right downtown. When we went to the event, the restaurant's not up and running, but I think it's pretty close to having like their opening. So check that out if you're in the area. I wanted to talk about today. So going into hearing him talk, I read the book a few years ago, was really inspired by it, but mainly inspired through different ideas of kind of living life to the fullest, different perspectives for saving for retirement and inheritances, and just kind of a different way of looking at a lot of those types of things. And he did talk about that. But one thing he talked about a lot was health and nutrition and food and diet. And so I wanted to hop on today and just kind of share some of his perspectives on that and help kind of connect some dots that, as I was listening, it's like, well, yeah, I know this, but just the way in which he worded it really kind of connected it in a new way for me. So I wanted to share that with you today. So his point was that health is really important for fulfillment. And my takeaway was that in order to really do these fulfilling, enjoyable things later in life, or even currently in life, you really have to have your health in order to be able to do that. When he talks about saving things, because one of the premise in the books is really like taking the trip now and not saving all of these trips or things that you want to do or bucket list items for later and after retirement, because in reality, there's a chance that either that you may not be able to do those, or your spouse, and you may not have the health or ability or even desire to, say, hike Machu Picchu or something like that. But in order to do all of these things and have this fulfillment, you really need to have your health. And then, he goes on to say that health is 80% diet. I've heard different percentages, but certainly diet is a big part of your health. I think most would argue that diet nutrition is kind of that foundational piece, even more so than exercise, which, he did talk about, but you really have to have your diet and nutrition honed in to continue to have a healthy, thriving life. He personally uses a personal chef, but I think the takeaway for me is, am I treating my diet and my family's diet as the cornerstone, not just for our health, but like for the potential fulfillment and enjoyment of life in the years to come? And just how foundational that piece is. It may seem as simple as like, well, sure, dinner tonight, let me just throw in a frozen pizza, or let me just order in some takeout, and that's fine. But really, over time, it does add up. And all of those choices today are going to impact our health in the next few years, but also especially so 10, 20 years from now. And our ability to really have these moments and activities that we dream of. And for me, I've thought about this a lot in terms of fitness, making sure that I'm maintaining muscle mass and bone density. And, I've been lifting and doing heavy weights, but I think hearing him talk was just such a good reminder that, yes, that's important, but man, diet nutrition today is such a key for future health and being able to fulfill all of these future plans and visions that I have for me and my family. So for today, I just wanted to get on and share that and really connect those dots. We do talk about diet nutrition on this podcast, but a lot of times just more for having health and thriving now and in the moment. But today, I just really wanted to connect that to the foundation that you're setting up, not just for today. 'Cause, I think you can sometimes get by for a while, right? With maybe not eating so healthy for a while, but eventually, and especially when you look later down the road, that's going to make such a big impact on what you are able to do. And, I would just challenge you of like, how are you setting yourself up today to really have this fulfilling, enjoyable life on into the future? And are your choices and your meal choices and what you're buying at the grocery store, what is going to set you up for what you have planned down the road? So that was my takeaway from hearing him speak. It was a surprise. I encourage you, if you've not read the book, I really remember hearing more about, his encouragement to enjoy trips and doing all of this now versus saving it all for retirement. But he also had a lot of interesting perspectives on like inheritances and when is it best to give an inheritance and spending money and money management. And I enjoyed reading. That's what I remember taking away from the book. So if you're interested in those type of topics, I recommend the book. I think I did it on Audible when I did it years ago. It's a very easy read, a fun read. So if that's something that's interesting to you, check it out. The book is Die with Zero. So that is all I have for today's episode. If you are interested in trying out our meal plans, if you're wanting to eat healthier, let us help you. We've, done all the heavy lifting of creating the grocery list, testing the recipes. They're tasty, healthy, family-friendly recipes. It's prepdish.com/MPM. We have a 2-week free trial, so you can try it out 14 days, no risk. If you don't like it, you can cancel. Of course, we hope you love the meal plans and continue making them. So that is all I have for this week's episode. I will be back again next week with another episode.